and I go back and forth. So I've got some buddies that that's all they do is crossbow hunt. And there's some killers, man. And I think part of the reason where crossbows get a bad name is some of the individuals that get into hunting right out of the gate with crossbows, right? They don't take, it's a last minute thing, right? When you think a bow hunter is typically somebody that takes time. There's preparation. They're methodical. They think through, they understand rules, laws. They do a lot of prep work prior to the season, right? And when we look at crossbow sales as a shop, right? I own Extreme Outfitters. We sell a lot of crossbows. Crossbow sales typically are in September.
Right, as the season's starting.
The season starts in September. So what happens? What does that equate to? That equates to guys who are just getting into hunting. They walk in, they buy a bow. They have no familiarization with that weapon whatsoever. They come in, they buy it. It's set up. Setting up a crossbow is very, very simple. And then they take it in the woods that evening and
attempt
right to go hunt. And I think that's where the bad name comes from, right? Just because it's a lack of preparation. It's a lack of, getting ready for the season. These guys are very not all, and I'm not saying all of them, but this is what we see a lot of when it comes
seems to be the norm.
It does. And these crossbows now are very technical, right? You got bows that are putting up speed 515 feet per second, right? And there's a lot of energy stored in these bows, and there's a lot of steps to shooting these bows, right? For example, a lot of these bows have transitioned to a crank system, right? So you got to crank this up with a system. It's not just a rope cocker, pull it back, load a bolt, shoot it. You've got to put it on fire. You've got to push the FDL to release the tether to go down to get to the string. You've got to latch it on the string. It's got to go automatically engage into the safety. You've got to put your crank device in it. You've got to crank it all the way up. You've got to back turn it 3 times. You've got to push a clutch. You've got to remove and stow the actual handle. You've got to make sure you load your bolt with enough force so that it clicks, and then you can fire the bow. So there's a lot of steps, right? What we're seeing as these bows evolve and become more complicated is more of these bows are in a shop blown up, or there's an issue with them because one, it's a last minute thing. People are buying them last minute. They're not reading instructions. They're not watching videos on how to use them. They're taking them out in the woods. They're not familiar with their equipment. And then there ends up being a problem, whether they somehow bind up the internals, all kinds of stuff. So I think that's where the bad name kind of comes from. I'm not against crossbows at all. Like I said, I've got friends that shoot them and very successful with them, and that's how they choose to, or that's what they're limited to. What do you think? I mean, as far as I know you talked about it. I mean, it's a great way to get people into the sport. But
certainly. Yeah. I mean, it is frustrating, cause as a hunter, as a bow hunter, and I'm sure you can sympathize with this too. And we talked about this in the last episode is preparing throughout, not just before the season, but year round. Right. So how is it fair that I practice year round? And we get into archery season, and the benefit of having an archery season is you get this extra time to hunt because you became proficient with this and it's harder and all this other stuff. But then, somebody can come into the shop and buy a bow, and then that afternoon they're ready to rock and roll. It kind of takes the point out of it, in my opinion, as far as archery is concerned, the ability to hunt during the archery season. So that's where I'm kind of against it is, I don't see how that's equates, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And there's a lot of your traditional bow hunters that argue that it dilutes the meaning of archery season.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way of putting it. It dilutes the season because realistically with a bow, when you're in the woods and you're hunting, right, there's a lot of factors and a lot of variables that are working against you as a bow hunter, right? One, you're close. You've got to be extremely close with a bow, right? That's the difference between that and a rifle. And I think crossbow is that in between. You can really shoot some distance accurately. Some of these bows are shooting 1 and 2 inch groups at 100 yards, which I know dudes with bows that can do that, but they're doing it consistently. Your average Joe can do it. But as a bow hunter in the woods, you have to be able to identify an animal, range, know how far that animal is, because the trajectory on an arrow is not as flat as something that's shooting 500 feet per second, 450 feet per second. So you've got to know your ranges. And then the big challenge is getting the bow back.
Right. The movement.
The movement's
huge.
That is involved to draw a bow is a critical part of being a successful or non-successful bow hunter. If you've ever bow hunted and you've had a deer come in, if you've never had a deer bust you drawing a bow back, you've probably not hunted very long.
Right. It's probably first season, right?
Exactly. Right. So that's a major part of bow hunting is being able just to get the bow back, acquire your peep sight, put your sight on that animal, and then make a good shot.
A lot more steps, obviously.
There's a lot more steps. And with the crossbow, you pre-cock that. It's loaded. It's ready to go. All you've got to do is put that thing on fire and pull the trigger.
Right.